You know what I mean? Like morally, we just don't. We weren't. It's just not the same fabric. So that's why I went and did my thing. I'm not as tolerant as certain things.
The industry, man, it's not the same. Doesn't have to do with talent. It's about playing the game. The industry, real dying to get in. The industry, just to find they don't fit in.
A Lyor Cohen, a Jay-Z, all of that. You know, I just they all seem like they be working together. Over pause. It's like it's been 20 years.
You and Dame ever talk?
No, I've never talked to him.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen all the rants and all the criticism and all the things that he said.
See, Lyor Cohen is the head of music at YouTube and Google, and is widely regarded as one of the modern music business's most powerful executives. Can you guess where he's from? Yeah, you probably guessed right, but let's get a little bit of background about Lyor Cohen, right? Prior to taking his position at YouTube, Cohen worked on the label side of the music industry at companies including Warner Music, that one's very important, Def Jam, ironically, Island Def Jam, and 300 Entertainment.
Okay, and after you graduated, you went to go work for the Bank of Leumi?
Yeah, Bank Leumi is the National Bank of Israel.
Uh-huh.
My mother got me the job, and it was just when the Shah fell in Iran, and all of the Jewish Persians came straight to Beverly Hills.
Jay-Z and his mentor Lyor Cohen are back in the hot seat, and this time, Dame Dash is spilling the tea on long-standing rumors about their alleged collaboration to sabotage DMX. Fans are dragging Jay-Z online, pointing out the disconnect between his supposed dedication to uplifting the black community and his history of undercutting other black artists to get ahead. DMX, who was never afraid to call out shady power plays in the industry, even claimed that many rappers were selling out to their label bosses, and he wasn't speaking figuratively.
You know what I'm saying? They sucking the record label executive. It's like there's too much of that going on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Let me be me. Let me be the artist that I am and just play my motherfucking music. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Now they want you all up under this, you know, sitting at the going to dinner with them and shit like that.
Dame Dash is pulling back the curtain and revealing more details about how Jay-Z and his mentor, Lyor Cohen, allegedly tore down and sacrificed multiple black artists on their way to the top. But who is Lyor Cohen, really? What exactly did Dame expose about Jay-Z and Lyor's alleged plot to sabotage DMX? Let's break it down.
If you want to rap or sing or whatever, don't become a part of the game. You know what? Listen to a song I called The Industry. And that pretty much explains, you know what I'm saying, what the
It's no secret that Dame Dash and Jay-Z haven't been on good terms for years, and according to Dame, it's mainly because Jay chose to align himself with people like Lyor Cohen, who profit off black culture while tearing down black artists. Here's a quick rundown. Jay-Z, Dame Dash, and Kareem Biggs Burke founded Rockefeller Records in 1994, but by 2002, rumors began swirling about tension between Jay and Dame. Things came to a head in 2004 when talk of Rockefeller shutting down reached its peak. That same year, Jay-Z stepped in as president of Def Jam Records, taking over from Lyor Cohen. This move gave Jay control over all of Rockefeller's tracks, effectively leaving Dame and Biggs out in the cold. For Dame, the most frustrating part wasn't just losing the label, it was watching Jay side with executives who had been accused of exploiting black culture for their own gain.
My beef was with Lyor because I think he's a fake CEO and I think he's fronting on my culture, but he can't front on anybody else. It was like they have people that their job is to create beef so that they can monetize it, pause, but they don't let their culture feel it.
Dame also pointed out that he started questioning Jay-Z's morals when Jay refused to cut ties with R. Kelly, even after finding out what R. Kelly did to Dame's ex, Aaliyah, when she wasn't even an adult. Just months after Aaliyah's tragic passing in 2001, Jay-Z dropped a joint album with R. Kelly called The Best of Both Worlds and even planned a tour together. In a 2019 interview with Hip Hop Motivation, Dame revealed that he couldn't wrap his head around how Jay was okay collaborating with R. Kelly, knowing the suffering he caused Aaliyah,
But it just was so much hurt for her to revisit it. It was like, I wouldn't even want to revisit it without a professional. Whatever got done was terrible. So to be honest, like, if you remember The Best of Both Worlds, you don't see my name on that. You know what I mean? And
Your name is not on either album?
Hell no, I never wanted no parts of that. So when Holmes was doing it, I was like, bro, You know our homie violated, and he my girl. He was a friend of yours. And because of the moral challenge and him choosing one way, I knew morally we weren't the same. So to me, Rockefeller was the funk.
But apparently, Jay wasn't too happy about Dame calling out his ties to R. Kelly, especially since Jay's PR team reportedly worked overtime to distance him from that connection after Kelly was convicted. In response, Jay hit back in 2021 by suing Dame, accusing him of trying to sell Reasonable Doubt as an NFT. That same year, as Jay-Z filed the lawsuit against Dame, DMX sadly passed away, and that's when more stories started coming out about Jay's questionable ties with Lyor Cohen. Shortly after X's death, Jay appeared on LeBron James' show and tried to downplay any tension between them, claiming DMX was just too competitive.
There was a competitive thing, but it was big love. He was so competitive with me. I never met a human being more competitive with me, like ever, not even my big brother.
But according to DMX, Jay-Z was the one obsessing over competition all the time. When Jay became president of Def Jam, DMX was already a big name with 5 #1 albums under his belt. However, DMX claimed that as soon as Jay took over, he started sabotaging him. X believed Jay had a change of heart about retiring and wanted to get rid of any competition before making his own comeback.
Okay, I see what's really good. You're trying to eliminate the competition. You know, because at first you retire, you know, then get me off the label, now you're back rapping again. Okay.
But there's more to why DMX didn't trust Jay, and it has to do with Jay's ties to the real power players in the industry. See, DMX was always open about how figures like Lyor Cohen had too much control over artists.
A lot of the love I had for wanting to be a part of the industry is not there anymore. I don't even associate myself with the industry, you know what I'm saying? I'm not an industry artist. I'm an artist in the industry.
On the other hand, Jay-Z got into the industry games from the jump and, over time, has been accused of stabbing a lot of his fellow artists in the back. At the same time, Jay became super close with Lyor, even calling him his mentor in his memoir, Decoded. Here's a quote from Jay-Z's memoir. Lyor Cohen, who I consider my mentor, once told me something that he was told by a rabbi about the 8 degrees of giving in Judaism. The 7th degree is giving anonymously so you don't know who you're giving to. And the person on the receiving end doesn't know who gave. The value of that is that the person receiving doesn't have to feel some kind of obligation to the giver. And the person giving isn't doing it with an ulterior motive. It's a way of putting the giver and receiver on the same level. It's a tough ideal to reach for. But it does take away some of the patronizing and showboating that can go on with philanthropy in a capitalist system. The highest level of giving, the 8th, is giving in a way that makes the receiver self-sufficient. Now, knowing what we know about Jay-Z and Lyor and all the shady business moves they've allegedly pulled to accumulate capital, you can't help but feel some type of way hearing them talk about being generous and selfless. But who exactly is Lyor Cohen, and what's his role in the hip-hop world? Well, you can find the basics on his Wikipedia. He was born in NYC to Israeli immigrants and has been a major player in the music industry, especially in hip-hop, for over 30 years. He started out managing rappers at Rush Productions, then moved to Def Jam, and later took a leadership role at Warner Music Group. After leaving Warner in 2012, he launched his own label, 300 Entertainment, and just recently became YouTube's global head of music. But here's where it gets sketchy. There's a conspiracy theory floating around that Lyor might be an intelligence agency plant using his high-level connections to push a specific agenda in hip-hop. Why do people believe this? Well, for starters, Lyor has been caught lying about his past a few times, especially when it comes to his parents and where he comes from. For example, in an interview with Vlad TV in October 2023, Lyor was asked about his mom, and he first said she was a housewife. But just a little later in the same conversation, he accidentally revealed that his mom actually worked for the Israeli government and even helped him get a job at the National Bank of Israel.
And my parents, incredible parents, 3 other brothers, and just a loving, happy family. My dad was the head of psychiatry for Kaiser Permanente, and my mother was just a housewife and raising children, and a remarkable period of my life.
Now, I've always assumed that you were born in Israel because you have a slight accent when you speak. Have you heard this before?
Yeah, so my parents weren't immigrants because they weren't staying here.
Okay.
So my biological father was coming here just for his education. And my mother worked for the Israeli government. And so when I was born, I went straight back to Israel.
Oh, so you stayed there for a while.
I spent my first 3 years in Petah Tikva.
Okay, and after you graduated, you went to go work for the Bank of Leumi?
Yeah, Bank of Leumi is the National Bank of Israel. My mother got me the job, and it was just when the Shah fell in Iran, and all of the Jewish Persians came straight to Beverly Hills. So we were counting money there.
A lot of money.
And you know, I was supposed to be a financial analyst, but I ended up counting money, and I think I was making $14,000 a year. I was miserable. It was a horrible existence. But my mother got me the job. I have a college degree, and so I thought that was the responsible thing for me to do.
Besides that, Lyre's no stranger to controversy, and there are plenty of reasons why Dame Dash has called him a culture vulture. Take this for example. When Lyor appeared on The Breakfast Club, he talked about the opioid crisis and even mentioned DMX, saying he was upset about X's struggles with addiction. But when Charlemagne pressed Lyor about why he keeps signing artists who promote drug culture, especially with the opioid crisis going on, Lyor just shrugged it off and said, "That's just how the business works."
One of the biggest artists you ever had was had a real bad drug problem, DMX.
I'm so sad. DMX, there's two people inside of him, and the Earl is one of the nicest people. I put him up in Lake George. Earl loved being silent with a fishing pole. I shit you not. He just would stay on that dock hours and hours and hours and hours. Yeah, very, very sad. You know, I think the opioid problem, the syrup problem, is the biggest problem that I've ever seen and I've ever faced, and been a part of, and I can't fuck with it. You know, the crack thing was devastating, but at least the rappers were bringing a spotlight to you becoming a fiend, okay? And I thought that spotlight, head crack, helped, even though it was harsh and really really rough, particularly on women. But I think it helped change the course of the crack epidemic. I don't know what's this opioid thing, man.
Well, being a crackhead wasn't
would
cool
you-
back then. Being a crackhead wasn't cool. Now they seem like they're making it cool to be drinking lean and syrup and.
It's the most dangerous. It's the most dangerous thing that's facing our society.
So why sign an artist that would promote that?
Because I already answered that question. You weren't paying attention. She asked me talent or issues, and I said talent. But I have to. I can't give up on people.
Don't you think that's hypocritical though? You're saying the
it's
opioid problem's a problem.
opportunistic. Yeah. I got people to feed.
And get this, when Charlemagne brought up Dame calling Lyor a culture vulture, Lyor acted like he had no idea who Dame was.
This to run.
You're gonna make Dame Dash take this clip and call you a culture vulture.
Who's Dame Dash? You brought him up. I don't even know him. So you bring his name up. I don't even know him. So
y'all made a lot of money together.
Made a lot of money.
Come on, don't do that.
I don't know him.
So when Lyor's comments went viral, Dame wasted no time responding. He wrote on Instagram, "Thanks for this, Lyor Cohen, for proving my point in true culture vulture form. They make money off us and then try to erase our true history and act like the real ones never existed." Now, here's where it gets wild. Dame said the moment he started publicly speaking out against Lyor, the police allegedly got involved, which only added more fuel to those rumors about Lyor being an intelligence agency plant.
And I was hearing too much police talk. And that's that. And I didn't feel like being bothered. So leave me the alone and keep my name out your mouth. You no longer have beef with me. So leave me alone.
But that's not all. Let's talk about how Lyor disrespected DMX at his own funeral. DMX's memorial was held in Brooklyn on April 25, 2021, but Lyor didn't even bother to show up. Instead, he sent a video message where he talked about how no one was surprised that DMX allegedly overdosed. He even called X a gremlin.
So the race against time was that we all know X is a gremlin and reckless and looking for a wall to crash into. X, if you listen to X, if you see X, his death is no surprise.
Now, how insane is it that Lyor recorded this message to be read at DMX's memorial? It's almost like he was mocking his death. And this is the person Jay-Z claims as his mentor? No wonder DMX couldn't stand Jay. See, unlike Jay-Z, X was one of the loudest voices when it came to calling out all the shady stuff happening in the music industry. X even claimed he was blackballed because he refused to play the industry's game and turned down offers to have dinner with the higher-ups and do certain favors for them.
They got this new breed of rapper that's paying DJs to play their
right.
And, you know what I'm saying? They sucking the record label executive, and it's like there's too much of that going on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Let me be me. Let me be the artist that I am and just play my music. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Now they want you all up under this, sitting at the going to dinner with them and like that, and all that favor for a favor. I don't get down like that. Look, I'll give you the music, you give my money. That's it.
And then, in another interview, DMX spilled some tea on Jay-Z's friend Diddy, accusing him of doing some really messed up things to his artists.
Well, Locks got signed before I did. Even though I bought the Locks Store Riders, they got signed. They were a safer group, pop side them. And it was a blessing and a curse because they were sure they were happy about getting signed first, and they were on the Benjamins and shit was going. But then he made them jiggy and he put them in suits and made them write lyrics for him and took all that publishing and. Like, damn, I'm glad I didn't, you keep that. And we went to, as soon as they got signed, D was like, yo, if you like the Locks, X is like big dog, those are the pups, you luck.
Now, some fans think DMX's use of the RW was a metaphor for Diddy not treating his artists properly, while others believe he meant it literally. Check this out. In another explosive interview, DMX revealed that Diddy originally turned him down for a deal at Bad Boy. But as soon as he heard about the big offer from Def Jam, Diddy suddenly started chasing DMX, practically begging him to sign. However, DMX wasn't feeling Diddy's energy because he apparently heard rumors about Diddy making his artists do some shady stuff behind the scenes. Fast forward to 2005, and DMX dropped the track The Industry, where he called out how the music business really operates and how young talent gets taken advantage of once they enter the game. In the song, DMX expressed his frustration with the industry's exploitation of artists, shedding light on the dark side of fame and the control that executives and record labels often hold over new artists. As for Jay-Z, he's been deeply embedded in the industry from the beginning, and over the years, there have been numerous rumors about him throwing his friends and business partners under the bus, often with help from his mentor, Lyor Cohen. One of the most talked about stories is about Jay-Z and Lyor allegedly sabotaging Suge Knight's plans for an all-black-owned music distribution company. According to reports, Suge had a grand vision to unite artists and even planned to unionize them. The idea was for record labels to cover the upfront costs for artist union dues, which would then be added to the recording budgets. Once the album started selling, the artists would repay the labels, similar to how advances work.
People want to get together and say, okay, we want to network. You got a deal at Universal and your points is too low. You got a deal at Universal and they got 100% of your publishing. You got a deal at Sony and you don't own your masters, but it's your art. And I'm gonna tell you one other thing before you guys go. If you really want to know what's going on, it's real plain and simple. A lot of record companies tell you that at the end of the day, you have the right to.
This system was meant to provide crucial benefits to artists, such as healthcare and retirement plans, which would have been a major shift in the industry. In 2002, Sudge gave a speech at the West Coast Hip Hop Summit, where he talked about how major record labels trap artists by holding on to the rights of their masters. He explained how most artists don't have the leverage to buy back those masters, leaving them reliant on the labels indefinitely.